Welcome to the Witsup couch. It's the very lovely Åsa Lundström. Did I get the last name right?
You did.
Yes.
The pronunciation is...
You do have my favourite name, and I bring it up every time we chat because the way that you told me to remember it is awesome without the
Yeah. So I actually have my own hashtag, which is my name, so A with a circle on top, S-A-M-E. So it would be, the pronunciation would be awesome.
Yes.
But I spell it like my name.
I like it.
M.
All right.
Yeah. So.
Awesome. Welcome back to the island. Last year you finished 17th. 17th.
Yep.
And you had a few issues with the stomach, gut issues and everything. Yep. It's, we learn from these things, but I want to go back to the year before that where you finished 8th, which was quite possibly your greatest performance. Would you say here on the island, but also just your best performance over the iron distance?
I would say, maybe both actually. Because having Kona as my biggest goal of the year, I am at peak shape when I'm here, so I have the potential to perform at my best here. But then with all the other conditions playing into part, it's hard to get it from the splits if it really was a peak performance. But I did in 2016, so 2 years ago, I did note my fastest ever marathon. And that was here. So I guess it's both.
There's not many people posting their fastest marathon in Kona. No. So that's very impressive.
It was a 3:06 marathon, and then I've done a few around 3:07, 3:08, but that was the fastest.
Yeah, right. And the thing is with you, I find, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you fly under the radar here in Kona especially. You do, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I really don't mind.
Yeah, okay.
No.
All right, so we'll shut this down so no one knows anything about you.
Do not repost this. No, but there's still some pressure from myself, or a lot of pressure from myself, some pressure that I put on myself because I want to make my sponsors and my supporters proud, and people travel around the world to see me race, and so I think that's enough of the pressure. So if I can, without the extra pressure or the extra eyes on me, I don't mind not having them. But on the other hand, I feel, when you can use it in two ways, I guess. And that's the thing. If you're not flying under the radar, you can still, if you're able to, convert that pressure into just being wanting to perform and using as positive energy. So but I don't mind flying under the radar.
Fair enough. So let's compare where you're at in terms of physically, mentally, compared to 2016 when you did have your best race here. How's the body in comparison to that, and how's the preparation been in comparison to that year?
I still feel like even though it's baby steps, I still feel like I'm developing every year. That was also why last year was such an anticlimax for me, because I did feel I was in a better shape last year.
Right.
And I qualified already in December the year before, so and I didn't do an full distance Ironman that year because I wanted to focus on more speed, and did some TT bike races and some shorter distances. And then the one Ironman I would do, I underperformed massively due to other outer conditions that I couldn't affect. So this year I felt like I really wanted to do some races that I have wanted to do. Also the university wanted me, started poking my back, so Åsa, when are you gonna finish your studies?
Oh really? They're like, okay, wrap it up.
So we're gonna change the way that education is built up, so it would be a good thing if you finish soon.
Wow.
But I only had one semester left, so I did that full time in the spring.
Right.
But that meant, of course, not as much training. The entire winter I was swimming once a week.
Really?
I did all my training on the turbo trainer. And then I had the final exam on the Monday in June. On the Tuesday I left for Cairns, and I did the race in Cairns on Sunday. I was 7th, and of course I was disappointed because when you're in it you want to perform, but taking everything in consideration, it was still a decent performance with the little volume I had done. so the build up for this year's race, I qualified late. I did Ironman Sweden where I got my final qualification points, and having studied full time, I didn't know if I would qualify or not.
Of course.
But on the other hand, I feel more balanced in life.
Yeah.
I finished my studies, so I can finally call myself a doctor, and I don't have to worry about that anymore.
A doctor in what? So
just a medical doctor in general. So I haven't specialized in anything yet. So that will be later on.
So I've got this rash. If you could look at and
I'm just gonna call my husband. He knows this better than I do. And not the kind of build-up that I would normally have, or like most athletes might have. But on the other hand, I feel like I'm in a good place, both physically and mentally. And for the Ironman in Sweden in August, my coach, Cliff English, he was really surprised of how well I could perform with a little volume or a little training I had done. So physically, I think I am at least in as good shape as I was last year. So I feel good.
Awesome. So Saturday will tell.
Yes.
Yes.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That's the worry, that you perform, so you want to perform in a way that is equal to your ability, and that's what makes people so nervous, and you can't sleep regardless if you're an age grouper and you're doing it for the first time, or if you're a professional, you've done it for 10 years. It's the performance you want to be able to do for yourself, to prove yourself that the training you have put in will match in your results, and that's not always the case, but you want it to be.
And that's one of the hardest things I find with the long distance racing compared to other sports, or even the shorter distance racing, is you don't get many opportunities to test out what you've done in training, because how many iron distances can you do in a year?
Exactly.
You know, maybe 5 if you wanted to, but not everyone wants to be doing 5. So that would that's tough mentally to sort of cope with, especially if you have a disappointing performance, for sure. You've also had a bit of a rough year. Well, I was going to say emotionally, but it was because of a physical thing.
Yes.
You ended up, well, you'll be better off telling the story, but with a bit of cancer removed. Can you talk us through that? And
Sure. I had, being a Scandinavian, traveling and spending a lot of time in the sun, and, when training outdoors, it's hard to have a fission's protection for... And you would know, being Australian.
And you do spend a lot of time in Australia.
I do. I love Australia.
Yes.
So I'd love to go there. So I just kept, trying to keep track, more or less. And then there was one birthmark on my, where would you,
Shin?
Chin.
Yeah.
The difference between chin and shin.
Oh.
Not the chin, but
chin.
Shin. Right, the shin. I know. Still struggling with that. And so we looked it up, and we removed it. Because we couldn't, because the doctors couldn't, they couldn't say it wasn't cancer, so they had it removed.
Right.
And that was a few weeks before I did the 70.3 in Sweden, in Jönköping, my hometown. And just a few days before the race, they called me and said that it turned out to be cancer.
Oh wow.
Luckily, it was growing only locally, because we discovered it so early. We had it removed in a stage where it hadn't been, growing in different directions. So I was very lucky to have it removed. But then I had to go back, and that's like a standard procedure, that they cut it again and then go a bit deeper just in case. So I had it cut twice. So for having cancer is a really big word. And I don't feel like a cancer survivor. But it was cancer, and it was enough. It was the mildest form of cancer you can have, I guess.
But still.
But it's still,
cancer.
I'm in the system as a cancer patient. That just gets your head thinking a lot. So emotionally, it was quite the journey, actually. Even though it was removed before I was even diagnosed with it, and that they just cut an extra time just to be sure. It was still, in my head,
Oh,
Yeah.
the amount of times but what if
Yes,
I hadn't got it
exactly,
checked
yeah,
earlier? What if I hadn't have been on top of, all of the marks on my body and being really stringent
Yes,
with it?
exactly.
Yeah.
And I felt, this, I did, so the medical education is 6 years and I did it in 10 years. And it was just worth it in an instant. Because if I, my husband is a doctor too. We met in medical school, but maybe he wouldn't have been as aware on a birthmark on the, because it was small, like it was tiny. It was not like it was obvious.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad I got it in time.
Yeah. So you would recommend to people, and particularly triathletes, because we spend so much time in the sun, just to constantly be checking any marks on your body. So just go to your GP or a specialist. Always get them checked. Yeah. Just
it's good to just keep a track of more or less, just to so you can identify if any of them are changing.
Yeah.
I guess it's the change that is the biggest thing. If they are. There's a few things to look for, but generally, if they are changing in size, if they're not even, if the border is not even, so it kind of floats out. If it gets bigger, if it keeps growing on like raising, and if it starts changing colors, or there's different colors within it, and just if it's if you know what birthmarks you have, and you can notice if they change. And if they change, and you spent a lot of time in the sun, or you don't put a lot of sunscreen on your chin, which you do this.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I ever put any on my legs.
Yeah.
Okay, I will now. Absolutely. All right. Yeah. Well, tough lesson to learn, but
yes. But still, I would call it a free lesson.
Yeah.
Because I got the opportunity to learn a lot from it and grow as a person, but I didn't have to pay a big price.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Ooh, all right. Yeah. We're just going to pause for a second because I need to grab my phone because we've got a social media question for you. And I forgot to have it next to me. Or when I say pause. It will keep rolling.
Yeah.
And then I'll have to edit it. Yeah. All right. Okay, so we have a social media question for you, and you specifically.
Oh.
Yeah, not just a general one.
Interesting. Ooh.
And I'll tell you who it's from after I ask the question.
Okay.
What would she choose? Live without clogs for a year or without coffee for a year? And do you know who wrote that?
It must be someone Swedish, knowing that I walk around in clogs all the time at home, and I have my own coffee that I did produce together with my neighbor who's a coffee producer. Awesome coffee.
What? Stop it. How do I not know about this?
Because I probably was a bad athlete not sending you a package yet.
Very, very bad athlete.
My husband is coming on Thursday. I'll have him bring one for you.
Please?
Yeah.
Coffee's my life. Well, Frankie, my daughter, the dog, and my husband.
Yep.
But then coffee.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty high up.
It is very high up.
Yeah.
From Melbourne, Australia, coffee is life.
Beans or grain?
Ooh, beans, please, because we've got a grinder here, and then I can take them home as well.
I will. He will bring some awesome coffee for you.
Oh my god, that's so good.
Okay. Oh yeah. So the question: no clogs or no coffee? I would have to go. I'm so sorry for everyone in my neighborhood, but I think I would have to go for no clogs.
Coffee wins.
Coffee wins.
Yes. And did you figure out who it's from?
Someone Swedish, and probably an athlete that I know or knows me. Yeah.
It is Annie Thoren.
Annie, of course.
As I pronounce that, I don't even know.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah,
okay. Good, very good.
Awesome. I use that word way too much, but around you it's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure to catch up. Thanks for opening up about the cancer as well. It's a very important lesson to be teaching people.
Yeah.
So
especially for us athletes.
Absolutely. We might even try and catch up later and see if we can put an article or something together to really drum it home to people. Because very, very important, obviously. But all that aside, all the best on race day. I hope you have a ripper and something that you're going to be very proud of. I'm sure you will.
Thank you. I hope so too.
Excellent. Bye.
Bye.